Today we're going to be working on folder A, and the focus is the distributive property. The learning objective for today is that you'll be able to simplify expressions using the distributive property. You'll need to make sure to pick up a new math fluency worksheet from your teacher. Please write your name and today's date. The folder name is 4A, and then you'll need to circle the attempt that this is for you. Sprint number 1 will consist of 6 questions. You'll have 2 minutes to complete those 6 problems. You'll want to simplify the expression using the distributive property. Here are the 6 problems for sprint number 1. Go ahead, take a moment and write them down before we get started. If you need to pause to write them down, go ahead and do that now. Okay, your 2 minutes begin now. You have 1 minute remaining. Okay, that is the end of the time for sprint 1. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple modeling of problems and then 2 step-out questions, and then I'll reveal the answers for sprint number 1. This first problem, 5 times c plus 3, we're going to go ahead and use the distributive property to simplify. And the distributive property essentially means that you're multiplying the term on the outside by each term on the inside. So I like to draw these arrows to help remind me. So we're going to multiply 5 times c plus, and then we're going to multiply 5 times 3. I would say a common error for many students is that they do a great job distributing the 5 to the c, but then they just bring down the second term in the parentheses, which is 3. And that is incorrect, because we actually have to distribute the 5 to the 3 as well. So it would look like this. 5c, or 5 times c is 5c. 5 times 3 is 15, and this is as simplified as it gets right now, because our 2 terms, 5c and 15, cannot be combined together. So let's take a look at this next one. This is actually number 1 from your sprint number 1. It says 4 times w plus 2. So using the distributive property, we're going to distribute 4 to w and 4 to the 2. So 4 times w plus 4 times 2. This isn't necessarily a step-out question, but what I'd like you to do is go ahead and finish simplifying this expression. If you need to pause the video to do that, go ahead and do so now. Okay, moving on to the second common error. In this problem, we have 5 times 6p plus 2h. So we need to distribute the 5 to the 6p and the 5 to the 2h. So 5 times 6p plus 5 times 2h. And so if we simplify that, we get 30p plus 10h. A common error that students make with this one is that they'll combine these two terms together because they both have variables, and they will make 40ph. However, those two variables, the p and the h, represent two different numbers, and so we cannot combine those two together. They have to remain separate terms. So this is as simplified as it gets, 30p plus 10h for this problem. So let's take a look at this next one. This was actually number 5 from your sprint number 1. It says 3 times 2k plus 5y. So we're going to distribute the 3 to the 2k and the 3 to the 5y. So 3 times 2k plus 3 times 5y. And we come up with 6k plus 15y. And we cannot combine 6k and 15y. And so my question that I'd like you to write in the step out question number 2 box is, I'd like you to answer this question. Why can we not combine these two terms together? If you need to pause the video, you may do so now, but go ahead and write your answer. Okay, so now that we've gone through those two common errors, let's take a look at the answers for the remaining 4 problems. If you want to pause the video so that you can compare your answers to the answers on the screen, go ahead and do that now. And then at the bottom of your page, can you write the number that you got correct? So there are 6 problems. Let's say that you missed 2. That means that you got 4 out of 6 correct. And then you'll need to identify an error that you made in your work. So if you got some wrong, what did you do incorrectly, and what can you do to not make that same error again? And again, if you need to pause the video to write your sentence or two explaining your errors, go ahead and do that now. Okay. Moving on to sprint number 2, it's going to be exactly like sprint number 1. There will be 6 problems for you to complete. You'll need to simplify using the distributive property, and you'll have 2 minutes to do that. If you want to pause the video now so that you can write down your 6 problems, that's fine. Okay, your time begins now. You have 1 minute remaining. Okay, that is the end of your 2 minutes for sprint number 2. I'm going to go ahead and show the answers, the simplified expressions. You can compare your answers to the answers on the screen. If you need to pause the video to do that, you may. Alright, and then at the bottom, if you would please, identify how many you got correct, and if this was your second or third attempt, can you please circle if you improved or not, and by how much in comparison to the last time you did this same video. And then turn in this paper to your teacher.